These are the colours and patterns that'll be in the shops next year. It's what you and I will be encouraged to buy, to be fashionable.
You know what I mean? And I do my little turn on the catwalk. Yeah, on the catwalk. On the catwalk. Yeah, I shake my little tush on the catwalk.
Without added colour, all these brilliant shirts would have the natural colour of the fibres from which they were made, and that is a pretty unfashionable grey. The skill of dyeing materials has been known for a very long time. Garden plants could be used, and still are, to produce a range of rich colours. In 1856, a chemist called Perkin found a way of making dyes in his laboratory. That was less than 150 years ago. For thousands of years previously, plants and animals were used to change the natural colour of materials. This is a garden plant called weld, and this is the dye produced when the weld plant is left in hot water. This collection of wool and cotton yarns is to be dyed with weld. With some dyes, metal salts are used to improve the dye's effectiveness. These salts, called mordants, can also affect the colour that the dyes produce. This is a dye made with the root of the madder plant. The colour produced by the weld and the madder will be different with different mordants. The dyes used in parts of Africa and Asia are mostly produced from natural materials, from plants and animals. These materials have been dyed in synthetic dye. It's one of a huge number that's been manufactured since Perkin first found how to synthesize dye stuff in 1856. Dye needs to stay in the material when it's washed. Wash fastness is an important property of dyed material. This standard washing solution will be used to wash a small piece of coloured material. The coloured material is attached to a test fabric called an adjacent, a collection of fabrics made from different materials. The test is to find out how much dye washes out and so colours the fabrics in the adjacent. This length of coloured fabric is being tested to see how it behaves when touched with a gas flame.
loading. So the whole screen come out. Okay.
The use of colour on fabrics is a vital part of fashion design. Colours fashionable one year will be quite wrong the year after.
So all color changes.
Computers speed the process of design by quickly showing the range of possibilities.
Just like Chinese dress.
This is the first stage of producing a wide range of colourful silk scarves and ties. Here, the designer is devising the new patterns, using paints and pencils. The patterns will be printed onto silk, one colour at a time. The finished pattern has to be broken up into its different colours. One printing screen will be needed for each separate colour. The right colours for the design are made by mixing dyes to produce the required shade. The dyes are also mixed with gum that will hold the colour onto the white silk. Dye chemists will have their own favourite recipes for producing the colour that the designer expects. That same mixture of dye, of solvent and of water, and that same amount of gum will be needed every time a pattern is repeated. Along this table, colour is squeezed onto the silk to build up the final colourful pattern. A different screen will be used for each colour. What is important is that the colours fit together on the silk without leaving gaps. Steam will finally bind the particles of dye to the fabric, and washing removes the gum from the surface. Weaving crisscrosses the warp and weft threads to produce fabrics. If the threads have been dyed, then weaving is also a way of producing patterns of colour. Nowadays, the skills of the printers and dyers are aided by the speed with which computers can search through data banks. This analyzer is searching for a particular color. The computer is used to find the best possible mixture of dyes to produce the color that the designer had in mind. In fact, the computer suggests more than one mixture. It shows how close that is to the original color and what it'll cost. To match this red, the computer suggests an orange mixed with 2 other reds at a cost of 86p per kilo. Each color will be printed separately onto the fabric, using screens that allow the color only in the correct place. The screens of fine mesh are produced photographically. The result is a screen of fabric, blocked except where holes allow a particular dye through and onto the material being printed.
Here on the printing floor, colours are squeezed onto the material one at a time, and just in the right place to produce the pattern that the designer had in mind.
These artists colour silk in a rather different way. They don't print it, they paint it. The silk material has been screen printed to produce the lines that act as boundaries between colours. Painting with dye produces a great range of colours, with one dye bleeding into and merging with another. It's all a long way from the dull grey and off-white colours of fabrics in their natural, uncoloured state.